feel like I should just continue to be like more and more um concise when doing the live announcements. And by concise I mean a single fucking word, you know? Um or whatever it might be, which is the word live, you know? Single fucking word. Word indeed. Yes. Hello, Draco Kraken. How you doing? Uh, I don't know if Aiden's gonna be here tonight. I know Boo was feeling sick, so I don't believe he's gonna be here, which is just fine. No worries at all. We have a bit of a chonker video tonight. By chonker, I mean it's 28 minutes. It's actually Draco Kraken. You suggested this video. It's gonna be great. We're gonna listen to terrible advice, apparently. Wahoo! Yay! Hello, Pizza Funk. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Hello, Timothy. Good to see all of you. I hope you're all doing well. It's that good old early Midwest fall, hot during the day and cold at night. So we're getting in my area we're getting like it's like 70 to or so in the day, and the other day my car actually had ice on it when I was trying to go into work, and my fans don't work in my car, so like my heater couldn't circulate air, so I couldn't use my defroster. So I couldn't actually defrost my car. I had to wait for the sun to come up because I wake up very early so I can get into work, and it wasn't up until like 7:30, and that's usually the time I get into work. So I had to literally wait until the sun came up. I do have a scraper, but when I scraped the ice off of my window, it immediately fogged up because I can't blow air on it to keep it at a good temperature. So, I I literally could not go to work until the sun came up. That was thankfully I had like a little bit of PTO, paid time off for those of you who don't know. Okay. But yeah, so I had an hour, I think, of PTO because I have had to use most of my PTO over the course of the few months and such. And I don't gain it back very quickly. So, thankfully I got in only a half hour technically late. I get in at 7:30. I'm scheduled to work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., but I get in at 7:30 so that if I want to work an 8-hour day, I can leave at 3:30 because my boss is pretty cool. So, um, so I was only technically a half hour late when I got into work because I got in at 8:30. Um, so I only used a half hour of the like hour I had, which was fine. This is okay. Because uh technically I got sick on Monday. Even though I tried to not get sick last week, by skipping the podcast and everything and sleeping a lot. I got sick anyway. Well, let me just before I continue with my story. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Table Talk Discussion and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Great95, and it's just gonna be me tonight. Aiden just called in, and Boo is sick, so it will just be you and I, and we're going to tackle this video together. Isn't that grand? I do have a second video as well, in case, right? But it's just gonna be me and you guys. Hey, Locomotion, what is up? It has been a long time. We haven't done any like gaming streams for a while. Because I just haven't had the energy and the time because of work. Haha. But anyway, yeah, so last week I canceled the podcast because I was hoping not to get sick, right? I was really, really hoping. And then, like, halfway through Monday, I got the chills. I was feeling nauseous. Everything was horrible. So, after 4 hours of work, I was like, I need to go home. So, my boss let me go home, which was nice. And I had to take the next day off because I was still sick. And then the day after that, I was fine. I was fine on Wednesday. So I was half a day sick on Monday, a day sick on Tuesday, and then I was fine on Wednesday. And that was really annoying because Tuesday was very important at work. But I really think, and I'm not a doctor. I know nothing about medicine or the human body or anything at all. I know nothing. But I'm pretty sure that it was literally just because of stress that I got sick and had a fever and chills and everything, and then could not be okay for a day. My body literally told me, stop. And so I did for a day, and then I was fine. It's a hell of a thing. Stress, huh? But hey, maybe it's not. Maybe I just had a bug for a day, and then all that. That's right. I'm not a doctor or your dad. That's true. Unfortunately, I'm not your doctor dad. Um, I apologize for disappointing you. Nurgle's blessing cannot be avoided. It is inevitable. That is true. I did beat it off this time. That's a choice of words. But you know, leper, unsub, exactly. That's me. But no, I don't. It wasn't COVID. I do not believe so. Doctor, if you all you need is a band-aid, fair. Thinking about making another bit of lore yesterday, but I was tired. That is fair. No worries at all. But yeah, so I currently am hoping that Monday the sun is quick to rise. It's not going to be. Or it's not too cold. And I haven't actually looked at the weather for Monday because that will literally make it so that I can't go into work for a half hour like I need to, which is really annoying. But I am getting my car fixed on Monday, so hopefully my fans will work after that, and everything will be fine. Oh, no, Monday will be fine. 69 to 49? Okay, cool. We're gonna be alright. Get a hair dryer! Exactly. I would need to plug it into my car to, like, point at the windshield, but can you imagine? Um... But anyway. What's banging? You gonna lecture us on the Silmarillion or another peculiar or some other peculiar torture? Great question. Today, we are going to be talking about terrible dungeon master advice, apparently. This was a video that was submitted by Draco Kraken to the suggestions section of our Discord. Reacting to terrible dungeon master advice. This is from the DM layer. Everybody remembers the DM layer, right? This is Luke, if I remember correctly. Luke. So, we shall see. Hey, Dave. How you doing? The sun being quick to rise or it not being too cold. Humans are so demanding. Well, to be fair, it's gonna be fine. I don't actually need anything changed. Thanks, Viridy. Don't worry about it. By the way, I don't think I said hi to Shin. Hello. Regardless. We're going to be talking about Dungeon Master advice and apparently terrible Dungeon Master advice. And I'm excited because I love hearing bad advice. This is going to be great. If this is literally a reaction video to something like Reddit, because I'm pretty sure that was the case. I think that was what was said in the suggestion. Let me go pull this up. Yes. Reddit D&D advice plus the DM layer. It's a double whammy indeed. Thanks, Draco Kraken. Wow. I can't wait for this. 'Tis the season. That's true. Hello, Entropy. I do like the fall. The fall is my favorite time of year. It's more my favorite time of year when my car can actually, like, drive. And I can be, like, able to see out of the windshield. That's usually okay for me. Is he just reacting to other people? Reacception. No, well, kind of, yes. So we'll see what this is. But hopefully we can go into depth on what's being talked about. And if this is, we'll see. Okay. So, here we go, everybody.
I was on Reddit recently, and I was looking.
So it was your first mistake. You're on Reddit, but also you're very quiet.
At Game Master advice, and I came across quite a bit of really bad Game Master advice, and there's some good advice out there as well, but I found some really bad ones. And what I want to do today is look at some of this bad advice I found, discuss why it is bad, and discuss what is probably better advice, at least in my opinion.
Ooh, okay, all right. See, this is every single part. This is pointing out what is bad. This is offering what is probably a better thing. Not just saying it's bad. Good, good, good.
Okay, now for some context on our first thread. The question is, we've all seen 100 threads about the best advice for DMs, but what's the worst advice for a new DM? So I just wanted to give you the context here, because the first post we're looking at is bad D&D is better than no D&D. So they're saying that this is bad advice, and I 100% agree that this is.
Wait, sorry. Am I crazy? Oh, the worst advice. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, so this is literally a thread. Oh, come on. Okay. I thought this was, like, going into threads and seeing what is, like, what you could find in, like, good advice, things, right? 'Tis the season to ask if you fear that which comes first and follows after. True. Bad is having, a 20 t-shirt instead of a botched one. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. What is bad D&D again? Bad D&D is, basically, it's just saying to settle for even if your table isn't a great table. So bad D&D being, like, one that isn't fun, but at least you're playing D&D, which absolutely is not great advice, I would say. But to Dave's point there, it depends on how lonely you are. Absolutely, that is also true. Like, it's dependent on how much you want to deal with. I wouldn't do it myself. I wouldn't suggest people to do it if they're having a bad time playing D instead of not playing D&D. I would honestly and wholeheartedly say you should just do something else, because it's annoying to have to deal with something that is not fun for you, right? I don't see, I mean, I understand that sometimes it is the only way that you can play a game that you really like. I get that, but I don't know, man. I would say if you haven't yet, try doing solo D&D, because I've seen that that's kind of on the rise a little bit. If that doesn't suit your fancy, try to find a different group, I guess, that's playing something else, maybe. Because people are playing other things for sure, right? So deal with the group you don't vibe with instead of nothing at all. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, exactly. Fun is the reason we do this shit, isn't it? Yes, exactly. So, like, I don't subscribe to the whole, yeah, just deal with it and play D&D. I don't know why that's ever been a thing. besides, like, if you don't have anything else, I guess. If this is your only social interaction whatsoever, I guess, that's the only way that I can really see it, unfortunately. But regardless, I would rather personally, like, just read a book by myself or something, like do anything else by myself than have to deal with things that I do not like dealing with, or do not want to deal with, at least.
Is better than no D&D. So they're saying that this is bad advice, and I 100% agree that this is bad advice. When I think of some of the like horrible D&D games that I've been in, and most of them have been at conventions, I would rather do almost any. I have literally left convention games before, like midway through or even sooner than that, because the game was so horrible.
Good.
I would rather do anything. I'd rather wander the vendor hall. I'd rather sit on my phone and play games or whatever. Like, and if you're at home or if you've got a friend group or something, like, I think it's so much better to play video games even, or play Baldur's Gate 3 or Icewind Dale or Subnautica, whatever type of game you'd rather play. But bad D&D.
Wait, so, what? Yes. I guess these are just the only video games that he can think of off the top of his head. That's fine. I don't know why it's like I would rather do anything else besides this, and these are things that seem like quote unquote slightly lesser, I guess, playing video games. Like those games. I don't know. It just seemed very strange to say it that way. I wouldn't say it with this kind of tone, I guess. It just seems weird. Kind of like a crab video, kind of. Yeah, except those ones are usually the single story that's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cuz they're usually ridiculous. This is at least people trying to have a discussion. There's another social interaction called calling mom from the basement to send some eggs and bacon, but that's the minor details. Yeah, that's true. Low-key the minor details, sure. A sentence that starts with "I would rather" always makes me expect an angry video game nerd quote. True.
It is not enjoyable. It's not fun. Sometimes it can be just plain toxic. It takes up 4 hours of your time or more. It's like, why would you ever want to be in a game of bad D&D? I thought this post right here was pretty cool. Peace Tea Time says it's a numbers game. Thankfully, after the first few birds, you can get good at seeing the warning signs. The player that already has character art before session 0, yeah, big red flag. I don't know that that's necessarily a problem. They're not there to do a collaborative game with others. They have a special teacup character they've ran before and expect the game to revolve around them. Their commander shepherd, everyone else is their squad mate. I mean,
okay, yeah. What? There's an upcoming Starfinder game with boobs and profanity. Have you seen it? Not an Owlcat one, which is fine. No, I have not. What's it called? It sounds interesting, at least. I mean, it's Starfinder. Well, I was actually literally just talking about Starfinder today with Brogan. And it makes me sad that nobody wants to talk about Starfinder to a degree that is interesting. It's up for... Oh, it's just called Starfinder? Like, it's actually just an official Starfinder game? Starfinder... Afterlight? Yeah. Oh, Starfinder Afterlight. There you go. I found it. Ooh. Okay. This looks interesting. Party-based RPG that brings Paizo's beloved sci-fi fantasy for universe to life. Hey, cool. I have not looked into this, but I will absolutely look into getting that game at some point. Cool. If they grabbed art online, it's one thing. If they paid for custom art, that's another. I suppose, yeah. So it really just depends. I would rather... I mean, I have not encountered this, I guess, to a degree that is... It would be problematic. I was in a group where one of the people could... or actually, several of the people could draw. and they would draw their characters. And so they had a drawing of their character at the beginning, but they never acted like this. Like, they never acted in a way that made them feel like they were the main character or anything. That's never what I've experienced. Even the people that have, like, just taken art for their game, I don't know that as well. I've never had that happen. So, like, it's never been something that's made me go, oh, I don't know about that, because I've never had that experience. So I guess your mileage may vary with that one, right? It doesn't. Yeah, it's not that it makes you selfish. It's just that apparently it's a sign that you could be playing. You could be trying to, like, take the spotlight all the time and not letting it be a group game. Really, you're trying to make it like your game, basically, when you're playing. They're doing one on Dark Heresy. Ooh, I will absolutely go for that one too. I still need to play Rogue Trader. God, I still need to play Rogue Trader. It's gonna be like 20 years before I get to that. I swear to God, that's not true. But it's gonna be a while. I have been wanting to run Dark Heresy as well. I do own it. Also, I like that you've misspelled heresy with Hershey. That's great. But cool. I've been wanting to run it because I own it. I own that and the what's it called? Is it Only War? I don't remember. I think it's on this computer. Let me check it. Let me check it real quick here. TTRPG stuff. Warhammer 4. Yeah, Only War. I have that as well. So, that's another one that I want to play. I also have the Black Crusade one, which I'm actually excited to play. Did I lose some time between Starfinder with boobs and having the art of character being problematic? No. Dark Hershey is the best Hershey. That is also true. Dark Heresy 2 is that there's only 6 official books. That is good. That means that you can learn everything about it in, like, an hour. That's nice. Fantasy Flight made several branches of Dark Heresy 2e. Oh. Rogue Trader PnP, pen and paper, gotcha. Is a kind of sort of counts as Dark Heresy, but the kicks I had from the PnP Dark Heresy, oh crap, it was brilliant. I hear you, dude. Yeah. If they get a big head, that's one thing, but I wouldn't tie getting art ahead of time to that. Maybe that's just me on that. No, exactly. I've not had that experience either, is what I'm saying. So, like, I don't know. Maybe, I guess, if that's something that you're encountering. But it's just one thing, you know? 1 hour, so those early Fantasy Flight RPG books, there's a lot of going back and forth. Okay, I don't know then. Very cool, though. I don't like having to flip back and forth necessarily between books, but I do like the sound of the complexity of it, I guess, is why I say that's good. Anyway. Yeah, so having art beforehand, I guess if their experience is they are encountering mostly people that are that way because of it, then that's, their thing. But it is just a factor, I guess. Though it's not one that would immediately point me to it being like, you know? True. Our lives are often made by one thing. Never get a big head. True.
I can kind of see that. This one right here, like, okay.
The grown man who has an anime avatar on Discord and then for their character is excited to play a little elf girl. Hearing an adult man giggle and make scared sounds into your headphones is not an experience I ever wish on my worst enemies. Vomiting face. Sure. Sure. Who hasn't voiced a sassy child as a GM? Yeah, exactly. For sure. I mean, like, I don't go into the whole, like, doing the small voice or anything, but I can. I absolutely can. I used to do it in front of my friends in college, and they would go, dude, I don't want to be friends with, like, a 10-year-old girl. I want to be friends with you. And I was like, yeah, well,
The grown man who has an anime avatar on Discord and
Oh, he's
then for
reading
their
it still.
character is
Okay.
excited to play a little elf girl. Hearing an adult man giggle and make scared sounds into your headphones is not an experience I ever wish on my worst enemies. I can totally see that. That probably is a big red flag.
So this isn't advice. Can I just say? This is just look out for this. I guess, well, this isn't, so this, they're looking for bad advice. This is just talking about something that they have experienced, right? Alleged red flag, exactly. I used to do it in front of my friends as well, girls, not so much.
It sure sounds like one. Yeah, totally. The DM who says they're rule of cool and we don't want any rules lawyers here. And what that actually means is I don't actually know the rules yet and can't be bothered to spend time learning them. I don't want to play D&D. I just want to improv storytelling time. Yeah. And this isn't like bad game master advice, but it's a comment on the first comment of bad D&D. And yeah, this, you don't want to be in these types of games where they're just like, I mean, I don't.
So, okay. So, here's the thing. I would have skipped that paragraph about the elf girl thing. Same. So here's the thing, right? With this kind of stuff, the presentation is important. If you are presenting the rules in more of a kind of gotcha, in a gotcha way, in a confrontational way, yeah, it'll probably be something that you get like this as a response, but that's because you've presented it in a way that isn't really like great, you know? If you're presenting rules as, so what I usually say, if something is not following the rules, I go, hey, just so you know, this isn't actually how it works in the game. Now, it's fine if you want it to run this way. That's totally cool. We just got to be consistent about that because it actually runs this way. But again, it's your game. Do it however you wish to, right? Gotcha is confrontational. But yeah, no, it's you just have to present it in a way that is like showing them that you understand that it's their game. But you're also trying to understand why they've changed it that way a little bit, you know, because you have the understanding of how the rules work yourself, right? That's usually how I go about it because it's just it is annoying to just say, so that's not how it works. Actually, it works this way. So like present it as a statement of that you are fine with them doing that because usually I'm fine with whatever. Even if you're not fine with it technically, I guess. But even so, it's like even if you aren't fine with it, it isn't your game to run if you're playing in it, right? You just want to get that clarification because sometimes it just hasn't come up until, you know, you're like 3 sessions deep. And then it's like, oh, okay, you know, what do you do?
Where they have no idea what the rules are, they're just winging it, or you have a player who probably has some mental health issues or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going.
Whoa, we didn't need to go into that. That's not what this is about. That's not what that's about at all. Why'd you even bring that up? Okay, all right.
On there, that sounds really sus to me. But yeah, I don't want to be in these types of games. I would rather not be there. I'd rather play a video game or something. Subnautica. I have my Cyclops. I'm ready to start. Like I'm my.
Can you tell that he's been playing Subnautica for a little bit, right? Subnautica's great. Don't get me wrong. Sounds like a couple of fellas shanking you at the pub's on the pub's payroll, but it's happening by your rule book, mate, which is shit and profanation. Yeah. Back the fuck up, don't judge someone like that. Ooh, boy. Yeah. The paragraph about the elf girl is more of a red flag in itself to me. Yes, exactly. Somebody complaining about it like that is more of a red flag to me than the act. Absolutely. Like that, like, we don't, We don't need to go that far. We have no basis for making a comment like that. That's woo.
Tune platform. I'm ready to go, baby. Let me finish that game off. I'd much rather do that than be in a game like
Go
this.
finish it off.
But I think this poster here adds some really good context too. Birding Buck says, this depends on your definition of bad D&D. If good D&D is just having fun, then all my games have been great.
True.
But if it is about how well run the game is, then I have done awful. I've been slowly getting better, but it has been the players making jokes and such to truly make the game fun.
Yeah.
And there is a whole lot of truth to this because the goal of the game is to have fun. And if everybody's having fun and laughing and it's just a great time, then I would say that that is a good game of D&D. It doesn't matter how horribly prepared the DM is or what kind of like problems are going on or anything. If everybody's laughing and having fun, then that's a pretty darn good game. There's always room for improvement, of course. But if everybody's having fun, then
everybody's seen that locomotion. I mean, come on.
And somebody or everyone is doing something very right. And this is also a great note about the players making jokes and stuff. Like, you would be amazed at what a difference it makes to have good players in your game. Like, night and day. Good players can take a mediocre D&D game and turn it into an amazing D&D game. Like, it is that simple. I have games that I run that I feel are kind of meh, to be perfectly honest. And then I have another game that is off the charts amazing fun. And in my opinion, what is the difference between those two games? The players. The caliber of the players, or I would say, not necessarily the caliber of the players, but the way the players contribute to the overall fun at the table. It is just amazing. Same game master, basically running the same style of games, but the players make all the difference. It is amazing. All right.
Okay, yeah, I didn't want to like interrupt him for that because I just wanted to see what he said. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't like every game is going to be different just because of who you play it with. The fact that I have so much fun with my friends, and whenever we play Vampire, we play D&D, we play whatever it might be, is because we all enjoy each other's company. We all have a good time. We all have a good grasp on our senses of humor, and we can all contribute, you know? So, like, every game has been fun, and I've not ever been, like, exhausted by it, or don't feel like playing it, you know? Because of the game itself. Are we sticklers to the rules? Not all the time, but there are times where, even in Devils and Dice, and in Vampire as well, you can hear it, where we make sure that we're following the rules correctly, because we both want to have fun and want to play the game the way that it's quote unquote meant to be played a lot of the time. Because we can, because of the limitations of the rules, figure out how to overcome challenges / if we're doing something that is, if it is like too exploitative or what it might be, so that everybody's, given a fair shake in every situation, because that's part of it. It isn't just having fun. It is also playing the game fairly, I guess, for us. And I think everybody wants to do that. And your adherence to the rules or non-adherence to the rules is the way that it's defined, whether it's like fun or whether that like it matters to you whether or not the rules are being used in different ways, and that will contribute to whether or not the game itself overall is going to be fun in one way or the other. Like, as long as you have a group that is totally set to do things in the same way consistently, and are cool with things on the fly and everything like that, and rulings that might be changed later on if they find something else that works better, or they, in the middle, say, this is how it works right now, and if it gets contradicted later, that's because that's the official rule, and I want to go with that one, right? Like, if you're okay with a group in that setting, if your entire group is okay with that kind of game, then it's going to be fun, regardless, I feel.
There's another one. What sounds like good DM advice, but is actually bad? And then this person says, never say no. And 100%, they're anybody. Okay, look, if if you've played D&D before or other TTRPGs, there are many instances where no is the appropriate response.
Yep.
And anybody who gets out here and says that you should never say no, I would purport, I submit to you that that person has never played D&D before. They're probably on Reddit, on forums, commenting and saying stuff and reading about it, and they're watching actual plays, they're watching Critical Role or whatever, but they've never actually played the game. Because anybody who's played the game knows that there are many circumstances where the proper answer is simply no. And so to never say no is just absolutely ridiculous. And
I mean, we covered this in the Ginny D video of the yes and isn't the best answer always. It's no but or no and or yes but, right? Like the whole 4 squares of responses for those words altogether, you know? Like it's not just no usually. I mean, there are instances for sure, but like no you exactly, right? I was exhausted when our ST ran out of ideas and the storyteller, okay, storyteller, burden fell on my shoulders and I'm a shitty storyteller, so we jumped over fire on Sabbath. Oh, Sabbath bonfire till the storyteller stole something from the changeling. Nice. There you go. Following a system of rules correctly at the beginning would have prevented most of the problems in the Lego Movie 2. Never watched it, so fair enough. Cheers to inventive storytellers. Yes. I'm still back on that snap judgment. I guess I can't roleplay a cute sounding character without coming across as gross. I mean, the Reddit guy, not the video guy. Yeah. Well, even Luke had some issue. I don't know. It's weird. It's very strange. You can't, I guess it's just one of those things where some people don't have a big threshold for that, right? They get creeped out, you know?
A great example here by Little Sun Trail, who gives a story about a time where players tried to do something absolutely implausible, and the game master was like, no, it doesn't work. And a complete 100% proper way to go about doing this.
Yeah, so, again, it depends on the context. But usually you can like say no, but you can try doing something else in maybe this vein or something like that. Like there's a few other things that you might be able to do, you know? So it's a little quick to pile on, true. So like I don't know. It just depends on the situation. There are very few instances where I have said straight up no. And sometimes when I've done that, it's been wrong. So, like, I don't know.
At the end of the day, the game master is running the game. They are the authority there, and they have the right to adjudicate, to say no to certain things. Now,
I mean, true.
I feel like it's probably better. No is often, sometimes the proper thing to say, but sometimes consider using yes but or no but
there you
instead.
Go.
So you could say, you know, can I open the door? Yes, but it's locked, so you're gonna have to figure out a way to get past the lock. Or
right.
They might say, you know, I want to try to convince the Sphinx, you know, that I wasn't trying to attack it, and be like, no, you can't do that, but you might be able to do something else. So there are some times like saying yes, but or no, but, as opposed to no. Another thing too that I've learned is that sometimes players will say they want to.
Well, that's where the no and comes in. No, and the Sphinx is trying to eat you.
Do a thing, but that thing they're trying to do maybe doesn't seem plausible to me, but that's from my point of view. And so what I'll ask the player is say, okay, how would you go about doing that thing? And then that gives the player an opportunity to justify why that thing might be possible, right? And then a lot of times they'll explain it to me and I'll be like, oh, okay, that thing is possible for them to attempt doing. Okay, cool, then make a check. But for my initial reaction, my initial point of view, I didn't think that thing was possible until the player came along and explained to me a way that they would attempt to do it that might actually make it plausible. So I many times like to ask my players to explain to me how they would attempt to do the thing. And then that often avoids me having to say no when there are actually plausible ways to do the thing. Next piece of bad.
Yeah, I think actually that puts a pretty good point across of just, if something does immediately make you go, ooh, I don't think that's a thing that you can do, you should instead maybe ask the player how they would do that so that they would explain it to you in a way that makes more sense or confirms your suspicion that they can't do it that way, right? Just so that when they say it out loud and you go, they can see that you have considered what they said, rather than just straight up saying no immediately, right? Um, we have so much wrong in our regular I'd cut slack. Absolutely, that's the thing, right? Like your personal tables will be different than, all of these kinds of things. So obviously anytime anyone gives you advice, us included, take it with a grain of salt. It might not, your mileage may vary, as we said. We have said. Reddit Neckbeard's now sharing the insights. Dog, murder me gently. Oh yeah, Reddit. Sometimes they have okay stuff.
Advice: the DM is always right. Yeah, again, anybody who's ever played D&D before knows that is not true at all. Game masters are just like anybody else. We all make mistakes. We screw things up. They're not always right about the rules. They're not always right about their rulings. Their adjudications sometimes absolutely suck. They're people. They're human beings. They're flawed. So it's not true that they're always right. I will say, though, that even if you know your game master isn't right, the way that I would suggest you go about approaching that situation is by stating, your side of things and why you think the rules should work this way, or why the ruling is, a little off or something. Do it politely, respectfully, give logical reasons. Don't just like talk loud.
Politely, just politely works there, brother. Is politely a word? Oh, I'm gonna get blasted. Oh no. Hold on. Politely. Oh god. Non-standard, rarely used word. Okay. Alright. We're okay. Yeah, politely. Okay. Thank you. It's rarely used because it's politely is so much snappier. Kitty, indeed. This is basically what I said before with approaching your DM on rulings of how things work, and if you know something that is a different way in the books or something, anytime that you really want to go. Thank you, Pizza Funk. Yes. I don't know. I feel like the DM should be right. They like own a house and stuff. That's a Garibay right there. That's a Garibay reference. We love it. You're right, because they own the home. So obviously, as the king of their castle, they they're always right. They're the law. But so I guess the amendment that I would say, we getting Halloween Garabingo? Yes, absolutely. We're getting Halloween Garabingo. Also, but the way that I would actually write this out is the DM is the ultimate adjudicator, unfortunately. So like even if you do present arguments that are compelling, if they still rule it as the way that they want to rule it, that is how it goes, right? We could argue for 30 fucking minutes about one rule, but what you would say is, well, I'm running the game, and this is how I want to do it, And then it's just like, all right, cool. Would it be better if Luke asked his viewers to send him things to get advice on instead of using Reddit? That's basically the premise of his videos, usually. This is just, this is our level of lazy. Going on Reddit and reading about things. We've done this a few times. Don't get me wrong. That's why I say it's our level of lazy. But I'm not gonna hate on him for going on Reddit and looking up, a bunch of people's answers for things and then responding to it. It's perfectly fine. That's what he's doing. He's adding more to it. He's giving it a bunch of criticism and comment. So it's all fine. Owning a house overestimated. I'm fine here there in the cardboard haven of mine. Hell yeah, dude. I was making a joke, but the first scene in Lego Movie 2 is a battle that gets increasingly ridiculous because the two kids playing with the Legos in real life keep trying to one-up each other. Ah, gotcha. Mrs. Jim and I gave up on the Lego Movie 2. Fair. Fair. That's absolutely fair. Little more to it than that, but I only have 200 characters to type with. No, I get you. No worries. But I get you.
And more forcefully, that will never win an argument. And then let your game master make the ultimate call and then just stick by that call. Like, you stated your case, they made a decision that you don't agree with, let it lie. And
there you go. That's what I said.
Hopefully that doesn't happen too often. Hopefully they're mostly fair. But if you do find that your game master is frequently making really bad decisions, screwing the rules up horribly, and refuses to like improve at all, well, then maybe that's a sign that you just need to look for a different game master, a game master who fits your style of play, or a game master who is open to improving, learning the rules, or making better calls, or whatever it may be. Another piece of horrible.
I mean, the other. What? Who? There's a reason that the person deleted their fucking account, I guess. That's. Don't kill anyone for, like, bad advice. Yeah, who's ever said that? You can't kill anyone in D&D. No. No. You know? It's fine, I was just thinking in terms of not running into weird posts to save memory space. Oh, that's fair, too.
Game master advice in a thread asking for game master advice. User deleted says don't kill anyone. And yeah, that's just horrible advice. I've been in games before where game masters try to save your bacon, where they don't want to kill anybody. And those games are just not very fun because you know that there's no risk, there's no consequences to your actions, anything kind of goes.
Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, I'm a big dumb idiot. Yeah, rocks fall, everybody dies. So that's okay. Talking about the DM killing any of the players. I thought in general of like playing D&D, don't kill anyone. That would be weird. No. Okay. Yeah, people have said that. Don't kill your players. It's like this is too vague. First off, let's just say don't kill your players. Second off, yeah, absolutely fucking kill your players. I'm sorry. Yeah, if they're going into a situation that they will die in, and you have given them all of the flags beforehand saying, hey, it's really dangerous here. Be fucking prepared and wary and all of this stuff. This thing is very powerful, you know? Or if it's a situation where, you know, you just, the dice just roll that way, you know? That's the story, dude. Sorry. Like, again, I get that people get sad when their characters die. I do get that. And I do empathize with that to a degree. But at the end of the day, that's the end of my character's story. Sorry. I don't mind when my character's story ends prematurely. In fact, there are times where I've thought that it's a better thing if their story ended prematurely than it did, than it would if it continued. Because it also should affect everybody else, you know? I agree with not killing your players. You'll go to prison. That is true. Sorry. Kill your players' characters. That's true. Table should know ahead of time that death might happen. Well, that's just inherent with a game that has combat or any sort of danger or conflict, you know? It's not the game of life. Actually, the game of life you can die in, I think. No, you can't. There's no, like, death space at all. It's not Candyland. There we go. Where you just draw a card until you get to the end. It's not that, you know? It's you are simulating a life. Like, I know I've said this before, but that's how I view it. Like, it's not that deep if you don't want it to be, but at the end of the day, you're still some person in the world, you know? So you might die. That's just how it goes, you know? And if you're not okay with that, well, I don't know. I'm also not okay with myself dying. But it could happen, you know? On the matter of Dark Heresy, it's about a player killing fest. Yeah, fair. And also PK for life. Yeah, exactly. Every story needs an ending. Exactly, dude. And sometimes that ending is not going to be as satisfying as you had hoped. That's just how it be. And I have made my peace with that to such a degree. Sure, I might be a little upset or sad if my character dies too early to get to anywhere, but at the end of the day, like in like 2 minutes or so, I'll go, cool, next character, I guess, right? It's not a problem to get attached. It's a problem to be too attached. Even for your dungeon master to be attached to your characters too much to allow them to die. Sometimes that ending is cruel and violent. Yes, exactly. Yes, it is.
And you're invincible. And I don't find those games super fun at all. My preference now the converse, of course, to that is if you have a game where you're constantly dying, everybody's constantly dying, well, that can be a real downer as well. Those games are brutal and
Sure.
maybe not quite so fun. There's like a happy
I
middle.
mean, obviously, if it's that one, you're usually like already, gonna go into that. You're gonna play the game because that was already explained to you. It's gonna be a a meat grinder kind of game, which is fine, Use a character you're okay with losing. I would say every character you should be okay with losing because any character could die. There should not be an exception to that. They will die someday. We'll all die. So you just gotta accept that, especially in a game like this, Gonna roll a fire mage next time with fireballs, big fireballs. There you go. Nice. Even the universe. Well, the heat death isn't for a while, so it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. People know you can reuse characters, right? Yeah, I mean you can. But at the same time, would you want to? Is their story, is it gonna be the same? Is it gonna be like I don't know. There's something to it of like, yeah, you can do that, but it kind of takes away from the specialness of the character, at least to me. Might not to other people, that's fine. Don't get me wrong. But for me, that character is a one and done thing. They existed in that universe. Sure, you could be in a different universe, quote unquote, right? But like, I would rather that character's memory be in that game, If they died. If they've retired or if they've just left the story, I'll take them wherever the fuck I want. But when they're dead, they're dead. To me, at least.
There where the threat of death and failure is present and you have to earn your keep and you have to like make good decisions and the dice maybe go your way every so often, and then you achieve victory, because victory without cost, victory that isn't earned, is hollow and is not nearly as fun as
True.
when you earned it, when you know that you could have failed and that the game master wasn't just watching over you and making sure you succeeded. So I feel games like that are way more interesting and fun. In fact, I would just leave a game if I thought that the game master just wouldn't let anybody die. I would also leave a game where the game master was intentionally killing everybody because they got their jollies from it, because that's not cool either. Yeah, this is Squeaky right here. He's bothering me. This is what he does when
I like Squeaky. We should just get more videos of just Squeaky. Squeaky's cool. I wish my cats were this like calm. They're still young, so like they still run the fuck around and climb on everything, so that's why I don't have them in my office when I'm doing stuff anymore, because they have literally thrown so much shit on the floor that it's actually dangerous for them to be in the room when it's got stuff in it that I do not want broken, which is my office. So guys who roll the same lame Mary Sues are not so much for a lengthy campaign. Yeah, if they're doing the exact same like invincible Mary Sue character, for sure. Good point. But if they didn't want them to die yet reuse them, that's fine. Again, like I said, that's fine. If that is what you want to do with your characters, that's totally fair. For me, it would ruin their specialness. But that's, again, for me. So.
I'm down in my basement talking to myself, whether it's a live stream or I'm recording a video, he'll just come up here and he just wants to be with daddy. He's jealous. He needs attention.
Understandable.
So he's probably going to be here for the remainder of this video.
My
There's
cats
a
do
good
the
butt
same
shot for
thing.
you. This thread is I need advice on DMing as a beginner. And
Oh, okay. We are going for like things that are like, hey, I need advice. Tell me some things. Good. Good.
this poster says, don't over prep and expect a specific thing to happen. Players will always surprise you. Set the scene and know the motivations, but be prepared to follow the players.
Yep.
I found about 50% or more of each session is improv, and the reality is players will think only 5% was improv.
This is true.
I tend to agree with this one mostly. I have a caveat. I definitely agree with this part. Don't expect a specific thing to happen. You can't expect what the outcomes will be. You cannot plan for what your players are going to do. Okay. I don't totally agree with this one. I feel that the more you prep, the more prepared you're going to be for most eventualities, as long as you keep an open mind and you're willing to improv and you're willing to let things go a different direction. And this is totally true. Players will always surprise you.
Yeah. So, I would assume, and I'll give the best faith interpretation, that the don't over prep is like don't spend like, you know, days on days preparing for one session, I guess, you know. That there is such a thing as preparing too much because like he's saying, you can't expect that everything is going to go a certain way. You can push things to go in different directions, subtly, or you could railroad it, I suppose, but we don't want to do that, right? Um, the I I unfortunately have this habit of not prepping until about 2 to 3 hours before a session, um, because that's my best time to do it because I do better when I'm in a crunch. Um, but like it's also so that I can have things fresh in my mind, that I've prepped a little bit. Um, so like I don't know it, but that's just how I work. For other people, they need to prep things, you know, hours beforehand. Obviously, like or days beforehand, even if it's like a weekly thing, right? Like so your mileage may absolutely vary in this case, right? That's fair. You just got to be careful um with your own like work needs or your own the way that you would prep things because you'll know yourself better than anybody else. Individual individuality suffers from reuse. What's the reason for having the same drone done and buried PC when you can come up with so much more? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Absolutely. Had a pint or four. Grammar can suffer from it. You're good. Um, I have Armok in my name. I must see the blood of characters flow. True. Dwarf Fortress now. Yeah.
I definitely agree with this. Set the scenes and know the motivations, but be prepared to follow the players. 100%, 100%. So I like to prep a lot and I like to set the scene, but I don't know what my players are going to do. And therefore, whatever they do in that scene, in that adventure, in that dungeon, whatever it is, then I follow along with them. And then I begin to improvise along the way in reaction to what my players are doing.
Oh, there's gonna be like a good thing from the very latest vampire session. We weren't able to play today, but we played 2 weeks ago, and there, I had described something, and Boo tried to get me in a gotcha, and it was great. There's a little teaser for you for let's see. I haven't made it yet, but what are we at? Oh god, where was the last vampire? Oh, did I already put it in the folder? I did. Where are we at? Ah, jeez. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 17? Session 17? That'll come in. I'm sure you'll remember by then.
And the rest of this I agree with you. I found that about 50% or more of each session is improv, and the reality is players will think only 5% was improv. I think there's some reality to this too. Like there's a lot of improv that goes into my games, a lot. I plan a lot. There's a whole lot planned, but
There's a lot of improv that goes into every game just because of the fact that everything could go completely sideways just because of how the players decide that they want to like approach a situation. In that most recent game that I was talking about, a vampire, I've kind of dropped the more concrete thing of my overarching story. And now it's just it is going to be how they deal with getting to information about it and how they deal with everything that has come about before that is now going to potentially affect what they do this in this situation, right? And how it's going to then ripple out and affect potentially things that they have been trying to do and started to do with their time before this event has come up. So I know what they have, I know what I have, but who knows how that will work in the blender, you know? How will it blend? God, I hope so.
a whole lot that gets improvised on the fly as well. But this is my feeling. I feel like if you prepare the right amount, then this is what's going to happen. Players won't realize that you're improvising so much because you've prepared the proper amount. It enables you to better improvise your game. If you haven't prepared enough, then you're not ready to improvise. I've found this to be true in my games, and I suspect this is probably a general rule of thumb for most folks. The more you prepare, the better you're going to be able to improvise.
That is absolutely true just because you have things to fall back on. That's just how it works. Improv is far easier to do when you have a foundation set, which is why I usually say that the way that I do things is make an overarching kind of plot in a way. I make my whole thing first, but with the highlights rather than specific details. And then when I go in and make those specific details, it's not going to be everything. It's just like key information. Which is why I've been able to do what I would hope to be as well as I've done so far in the vampire game. Because I have my notes that I can fall back on of these things. I keep notes on everything the players have done and the people they meet. Though there are a couple of times where I haven't because I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. My goodness, I can't speak, and yet I'm doing this. But yeah, you will know your amount of prep that you need to do, but as long as you are also taking notes during the game, you should be fine, right? I had so much 2%, 5% in that 00, it makes me wobbly and pouring a lot of beer all over my face. That's raw, mate. True. Right amount, exactly 4.51% speaking from experience. All right, well, there you go. Talent or some shit like that. Your Sunset series are pretty much great. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that everybody's been enjoying them who's been watching them. You should like the videos. You don't have to if you don't want to. You're fine.
Now, the caveat that I mentioned, though, and this is a very important point, is that everyone, he's biting me now. The amount of preparation you need is individual to you. Every single person needs a different amount of preparation. I like to prepare a lot for my games. If you look at my adventures that are written out, there's usually read aloud text, there's like descriptions, there's a lot of good stuff that I put into my adventures that I run my private games for. I do a lot of preparation for my games. I also improvise a lot, but this is my own style of play. There are some people that don't need to improvise very much. There are other people that improvise way more. What you need to do is find the amount of preparation that's right for you, that enables you to run fun games that your players are enjoying, and that enables you.
Hey, did you notice that everything he's been saying has been what I've been saying? This is good. This is a fine video. We're doing okay today. This is like a rare Luke W. Eh?
To be able to improvise, the amount that needs to
There's only been like a couple of things, or really the one thing, no, a couple of things that I've been like, eh.
be improvised during any type of game. What sounds like good DM advice, but is actually bad. Let players play whatever they want. I agree. That's bad advice. Sometimes players want to play things that you should just say no to, that you shouldn't allow. Easy examples: being able to fly at level 1, very, very powerful. And if you've ever played in a game where flying is a possibility, at low levels especially, you will know like the massive advantage that gives you.
Well, sure, but you account for that. Now, okay, so as soon as I say something nice, now I agree that it makes things harder, sure, I guess in the preparation for encounters and such and problems, but as long as it fit, like Aarakocra exists in D&D as a playable race. I have played Aarakocra. Other people have played Aarakocra in games, and it's not ever been a problem. Yeah, what if the level 1 character has wings? That's what I'm talking about, exactly. Like, an Aarakocra is a bird person, and they have wings. So, like, they have a fly speed of, I think, 30, so they can only fly as fast as they could walk, basically, which is totally fine. That's just how you work with it. But you just utilize that as something that is and a factor in everything that you've done. Yes, bird person, exactly. Yeah, flying is a core mechanic in one of your games. Yeah, absolutely, that's a thing. I hell, having like an airship or something could make the game completely different. Now, obviously, I think we're just talking about characters in general, but like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that flight is a problem. It's just something that you have to account for. What you need to do at that point is have things that have the ability to shoot up in the air, because they can. Like, while you get, you know, um you get a bow, and then you just shoot at a flying thing. That's how it be.
And so a game master is 100% within their right to say, no, you can't fly at level 1. In one of my games, I have a player who is, he would be what I consider a power gamer, or you might call him a min-maxer. But he's always looking to increase the power of his character.
Sure.
He's trying to use downtime to train in things to increase his power. At every turn, he's trying to increase his power one way or another. And I have to constantly hold him in check and be like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Yeah, you can do that, but let's add some caveats to that. So you can't just let players do whatever they want. That is a recipe for disaster in a whole lot of ways that we don't probably have the bandwidth in this particular video to talk about.
What? You have as much time as you want to take, but sure. So yeah, if it's ridiculous things, then sure, right? You, but like, if it's something as simple as flight, or it's something as simple as, yeah, you want to be as powerful as possible, you just mitigate that with the rules, I guess, right? Like, I don't know. It's if it's the advice that I would give is let players play whatever they want within reason that fits in your world, right? Because if it fits in your like actual world, if it fits as an actual thing that can exist, and it's something that you just have to kind of figure out how to deal with, then it's fine. But again, if it's something ridiculous, like I want to be uh a gibbering mouther, yeah, mouther, right? Gibbering mouther. Um, why not even be? I spent a long time since I've looked at a D&D monster. I'll be quite honest. But I want to be that. It's like, well, we're not playing as monsters this time, you know? Actually, in Fatal Flying Fox is a thing? Oh, well, nice. But yeah, I just, like, I don't know. It's just like, this is all, like, within reason, obviously. That's usually how the advice is supposed to be taken, because most of the time, we have thought about these things, or at least you as an individual can think about the advice and go, well, yeah, I wouldn't let them be, you know, a god if we're in a regular campaign, necessarily. And if that's not the theme, you know, Gibbering Mouther is correct. That monster has been burned in my memory forever. Hell yeah. Right?
But that is a recipe for disaster, and anybody can give you horror stories about games where players could kind of do whatever they want and play whatever they wanted to play. The rule of cool is more important than raw, or rules as written, rules as intended. And yeah, I think that my personal opinion is no, that's bad advice. The rules are made for a reason.
True.
The game designers did them for a reason. Usually, hopefully, they play tested them and things have a semblance of balance or purpose at the very least. And just always resorting to rule of cool over any rule is going to lead to it could break your game. It could cause unexpected problems with your game, with mechanics. It could lead to favoritism too, right? Where some players just like, I mean, rule of cool is ultimately like a game master prerogative, you know, where the game master is going to decide what's cool and what isn't, and when does the rule of cool apply. And so it becomes into almost a Mother May I situation. And you'll have some players who are constantly benefiting from the rule of cool and doing amazing things, and other players aren't. Perhaps because they're not as creative or imaginative,
Yeah.
or perhaps because the game master just rules against them and says, nah, rule of cool doesn't apply in that situation. And then you have, so it can promote favoritism, it can promote broken games and other sorts of problems. So I'm not saying don't do the rule of cool, right? But to say that it's more important than the rules as written, I think is wrong. It's bad advice, and it can lead people, especially people who've never played the game before and have no clue, it can lead them in a very bad direction. You have to remember all the rules to be a DM. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Just straight up. Yes. Because, for all the reasons that you've said, because, the thing is, when you use the rule of cool, if it is something that you want to just be a one-time thing, just tell them it's just going to be for this one time because I like how that works. You know, I like how that is, right? Rule of cool is totally fine to do in that way. Obviously, you should follow the actual rules of the game to whatever degree that you have already established, right? And again, if later on you've established something in a different way, you have to then follow that establishment consistently, right? Like it is just, you just have to be consistent at the end of the day. That's all you need to be for this to work. If you are showing that favoritism all the time, well then it's one of those things you've just got to just say, you found one that's kind of hot. Oh my god, for a gibbering mouther? Best representation of rule of cool is fate points from Dark Heresy. Yeah. I don't know how the fate points work in Dark Heresy, but I would assume, sure. But yeah, it is fine to make it something that people know about, but you don't want to say, hey, just do that instead of all of the rules.
It's not possible.
Because it becomes a Ship of Theseus thing, as I like to frequently say these days. How much of the rules of D&D do you take away before it is no longer D&D, you know?
It's like if that's the qualification to be a game master, then nobody can be a game master because nobody's going to remember all of the stinking rules. I think
Mm-hmm.
that you should be familiar with the core rules as best as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we play the games for a while. You get an idea of which rules come up the most often, right? And so those are the rules you should kind of know. And honestly, the more they come up, the more you play, the more you're going to know them because they come up all the time in play. And then you look up other rules as needed, or you make quick rulings and look it up later.
Yes.
But the opposite is the problem too, right? If you don't know any of the rules, well, then you're just winging it. You know, this is like the game that you might go onto Twitch or something and watch an actual play, and they may or may not be playing D&D. You have no clue because the rules are just woo. What are they doing, right? So the converse is also a problem where you don't know any of the rules because then you're just freeform winging it. You might as well just be improvising a story together without.
Here's the bad advice that I would expect to see that people have said. Oh, and he's even saying the opposite, which is in that other comment. But here's the advice that I would expect to see from people that would be something that I would say that's just bad advice, right? You screw up, you use FP, and voila, you unfuck that bad roll because Emperor protects, I guess. Oh, hell yeah, cool. All right, yeah, that makes sense. But the bad rule that I would expect to see is that you shouldn't have to look up the rules. That's the one that I would see that could be a bad piece of advice that like because we've encountered so many videos where it feels like people say, but you have to look it up and that's a bad thing because you're slowing the game down and all that kind of stuff, right? Like all of the times where it's thrown in there as a negative in service of the game running quote unquote smoother and faster, that's the times where I'd go like, well, that's just bad advice because you should be able to go and look into the books and be able to, read the rules because you want to be fair. That's what you want to do as a as a DM. Um, Players too want to be fair. I mean, obviously, you don't want to just throw yourself into a game and just auto win because you haven't been using the rules. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some people want to do that. That's fine. Whatever. Just do it without using any rules, I guess, at that point. But most of the time, we want to like play the game that the game is supposed to be. Usually. Good advice for players, not DMs, right? So you should know how your your character works as a player. You don't have to know exactly how every spell is cast and all of the ranges and stuff of that kind of stuff. But your character sheet has all of this space on it for you to write it all down. So, like, as long as you know how to roll dice and how to add, as long as you've written down how your character works in notes or on your character sheet, you should be fine, right? I don't care how much people need to look up things. Why does that bug people? Because they think it needs to be as fast as possible because they think that they're wasting their time otherwise. That's my assumption. That's how I feel like it goes through. People just say, we're supposed to be here playing. If we're not playing, we're wasting time. Which, we're already wasting time, quote unquote, if you want to be real, okay? We can just fucking do the thing. It's fine. Just look up the fucking rules. Players are cheaters and swindlers who bend the rules to their advantage like in any other games. Cheat engines exist for a reason. That is true. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But, at least for me, I wouldn't want to cheat the game because it doesn't mean as much if I do so in this context.
Any mechanics, which if that's what you want to do is fine, but that should be stated at the outright. Guys, we don't know the rules. We're not playing by the rules. We're just kind of doing whatever. And then if everybody's like, sweet, that sounds awesome, then rock and roll.
There you go.
And literally, as I mentioned, the converse of it, this person here is also just saying, what's the worst advice for a new DM? Says you don't need to learn the rules. Remember, the DM is always right. Just do whatever you want. Remind the players of this. Yeah, this is horse crap advice. And this poster is calling it out as horse crap advice.
The game is always right. Just do whatever you want. Remind the players of this. Just do whatever you want. Oh, as the DM. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, okay. You've already covered this rule. We don't need to go over this again. Like, this is a bad way to run your games. Absolutely. We don't need to cover this again.
Advice. So yeah, don't follow this. You know, it's really really bad. The same deleted user. The rules don't matter.
It's not the same deleted user. That's not how that works. It's probably not the same user. They just deleted their account because they decided that Reddit is not for them. Agreed. Yeah. In roleplay, you play for the kicks, not for the win, but those lads want to win in the game that is about playing. Yes. I mean, you do want to win still, right? Like, there is a win condition. That's the end of the game. But it's not as black and white as I cheat through the rules, you know? About rolling the good times. True.
Yeah, it's like, and this poster here, every time I hear this, it's straight cringe for me. Why did I buy all these books then? Yeah, your addiction to hypercapitalism.
True.
Dude, seriously, like if the rules don't matter, then you might as well write a book. You might as well sit around and write a collective story together. Just don't buy the books, don't do anything, just sit around and tell a story together. If the mechanics don't matter and the rules don't matter. I would say that you're not playing D&D anymore. If you're not following the rules to some degree or another, you're what are you playing? What game are you playing? Some
Ship of Theseus! Yay!
fantasy storytelling game. And if that's the game you want to play, cool, rock and roll. But don't come here under the guise that you're playing D&D when you're really just playing.
The win condition is pretty black. It's not white. That's true. We do kill people usually as a win condition.
Something that you're just improvising on the fly. And as a related note to that, Squeaky here has kindly reminded me that for folks who like to homebrew rules and modify the rules, strong advice here is to know the rules and use them for a while before you start changing and modifying the rules. I know we all get excited and we're all like, oh, wouldn't this be cool? And we want to toy and tweak and play with things. But until you understand the rules and how they work and why they were made the way they were made, and you've played the game for a little bit and you have some experience, then you're probably your changes to the rules are not going to work very well or ideally. And you won't have any like basis or prior experience from which to gauge whether your rules improve the game or not.
I mean, to a degree, this is correct just in the sense of every game. What I would say is, once you've been doing the hobby for a very long time, whatever TTRPG it is, once you've played enough, you can kind of understand the fundamentals of TTRPGs, and thus you can actually go, you can go in and kind of tweak things before you've technically played them. Though not all the time. And obviously your mileage may vary in that case as well, right? Because, like, for me, for the way that I've been doing Vampire, it's basically as vanilla gets in terms of the rules. I've only really just now implemented one change just to make things go a little bit, like, differently to how they're supposed to be because of the way that I kind of understand Vampire. And it's not a big spoiler or anything, so I'll let you know what it is. Every time that the vampires like wake up, they're roused from their torpor, if you will. And they make a rouse check. I let them heal a point of superficial damage, you know? Because for me, it makes sense because their bodies are constantly in a state of sameness. They're supposed to be basically exactly as they were when they died, and the only things that change are permanent changes from, like, either supernatural means or spells or, you know, I guess aggravated damage at that point because, like, fire and such, right? Things that would actually hurt a vampire to a very major degree, which is why I say, hey, every day you get superficial, because even if they would be able to heal a superficial, if they have an aggravated, they cannot heal it. Yes, or Tremere fuckery, exactly. They still can't heal that aggravated damage. That's still something they have to put the actual effort into healing. But it does make it so that every day they are at least getting some healing back, right? Because they are making a rouse check every time they get up and all that kind of stuff. So why not give them that small benefit? It just kind of keeps things going a little bit. If they scrape their knee one day, they'll be all right, you know? um, and it just works well for what I am kind of doing with my game. So, like, that. And I've played Vampire like once before this for like 3 or 4 sessions. And during that time, I had very little that I knew about how Vampire worked, even though I had read the book at that point. Like, there were still things that I think about back in that first time that I ran it that I should have done differently, like incredibly differently. But that's just how it went, right? So I don't know. I don't have enough experience with Vampire to, if it was my first ever TTRPG, to like fuck with the rules, but because of my experience with TTRPGs in general, I think I'm okay with what I've done, and even what I've done is very minor because I'm still not experienced enough with Vampire, I would feel, to make major changes. Fucking usurper is true. I love the Tremere, but man,
because you've never really played the game a whole lot and you don't know the rules that well. So I always say you got to like know the rules, play the game for a while before you start just modifying and tweaking and homebrewing stuff. And I know there's lots of folks who love to do that, and they're just going to be like, Luke, shut up. We're going to do what we want to do. And if you want to, that's fine, you know, and you might all still have fun and it could be great. I'm just saying that there exists a danger there, right, when you do that. And this right here is probably one of the worst pieces of Game Master advice you can ever put here.
Who the fuck, like, you're gonna read this, you're gonna put your thing in front of it, but who the fuck actually gives this as advice? Okay? Like, this is why I don't go on Reddit for anything anymore, usually, unless it is something that is completely not a hobby, really. I mean, that's not true. For things that aren't a hobby that I don't know anything about, I guess, is more what I go on Reddit for sometimes when I'm, like, Google searching for one thing. And it's like a Reddit post that shows, like, literally the other day I did a Reddit, or I did a search for, the best, like, spray to use for the inside of my windshield. And there's a Reddit for car detailing that is super in depth about which one was, like, the best one. And I went through for a bunch of, like, recommendations and all of that, and they all were pretty much the same. And I was like, cool, okay, I will do that. Because I don't know anything about that hobby, because, or really passion, because car detailing is not something that I'm super into. I like keeping my car clean. I literally bought a shop vac so that I can vacuum out my car on Sunday. But, I don't know anything else about that, so I need that kind of aggregate of general opinion, because I know that Reddit is a good place for that. But for things like this, of punish your players in character if you don't like their out-of-character behavior, that is something that I can't imagine that this is something that people have said, like, for real. You know? Because I know this hobby. But if this is something that somebody did have for real that happened, I mean, I imagine that is something that people have experienced. That is absolutely true. But this is not something that, you know, is something that's talked about. No, that is fair. That's a fair assumption, Entropy. Something that this person had an experience with and decided to complain about it by framing it as advice. Absolutely. That absolutely could be the case as well. So maybe I'm the asshole. You know what? I will take that. I am the asshole in this situation. But regardless, it's not something that anybody goes around telling people to do, I would say.
And again, this person is saying this in response to what is the worst Game Master advice. I want to be clear about this because
you have ever heard. Yeah, I don't know, man. I doubt that you've heard that as advice.
There you can see their names and stuff, and they're literally calling this out as bad Game Master advice, and they're totally correct. Punish your players in character if you don't like their out of character behavior. This is horrible. It's so bad. So I don't even know what this means. So if a player, well, I do know what it means. So if you have a player who is just hyper annoying or trying to min max or something, then you punish their character, right? So it's just so it's toxic behavior.
Oh, usually not in those words. Yeah, true. I see that they're explaining themselves later. Usually not in those words, but that's the core of several pieces of advice I've encountered over the years. Players won't stop cross-talking, remove a couple of magic items from their next treasure haul. Jesus Christ. Player on his phone during the game time, make sure his character goes down in the next fight and stuff like that. What the fuck? What? Where have you heard that? That's so weird. Who the fuck says that? I just came with my opinion when girls came and told me that the guy on point at one point is rambling and ain't coming up with a conclusion for his rambling, so yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to imagine the person that's actually said this out loud. I don't know. That seems like somebody that I would never listen to. I don't know.
Think is what it is. And it's just absolutely
And
stupid and
somebody who would never like again doesn't mean that they haven't heard it that way, but like it's just weird. Who says that?
ridiculous.
I didn't even read this. Yeah, that is my response.
And furthermore, I feel like not only first of all, not only are you not behaving like an adult, right? Instead of having a conversation with the person to correct their out of character behavior, you're just like punishing them in character and punishing their bard or their wizard or something, right? And not only is it childish and you're not behaving like an adult, but I feel like you're probably going to make their behavior worse, right? Because you think they're not going to detect that, like, all of a sudden you're treating their characters differently and you're like being harsh to their character and you're doing bad things to their character. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to notice that, right? And do you really think that that's going to improve their behavior as a person, as a player at your game table? I don't think so. I think it's going to make it would make me worse. If I detected that, I would be like, oh, dude, this game master, man, what a piece of trash. You know what I mean? And what a child. He can't just talk to me. So if a person, this has always been my advice. This has always been my advice. And I think this is the way that you really should do this, is that if you have a player who is causing problems at your table because of their out of character behavior, then you address that out of character behavior head on. You have a conversation with them. And this might be a private conversation. In some instances, if the grievance is so bad, it might be in front of everybody, right? Especially if it's after multiple times of having done it and having had a conversation. But you have to say, hey, look, John, when you're doing this thing, it's causing this result and it's making us feel this way. You have to call out what the behavior is and you have to explain what it's causes, what it's causing, what it's doing to the table, what it's doing to others, and how it's making people feel, right? You have to be very, very, very direct and specific about it, and you say, hey, if you could not do that, or if you could maybe do this instead, I would greatly appreciate it. And I think it would make the game better, and you have to be direct about it. I don't think beating around the bush and we have to grow some at some point, and be big boys and girls, and cowboy up a little bit to address things like adults, as opposed to childish behavior where we punish characters for a player's offenses. Another bad.
Okay, all that to say, have open and honest communication between yourself and your players, or yourself and your dungeon master. That's really all you need. You should do that instead of being petty. So, just talk things out, please. Don't be a dickhead. Also, yes, he needs to pet his cat. Absolutely.
Bad piece of advice: roll behind a screen and fudge rolls to save players and control the story.
Yeah, I understand that some people think that fudging is useful and they do it. I would never, like I've said before, I would never, ever, ever, ever want to be, like, able to even know that somebody has fudged the dice for me. I would never want that, because if that ever came to light, it would basically ruined the game for me because that means that I could have had a more like the experience has been taken away from for me because I would rather have the bad thing happen to me and my character. I just would. It's better for my enjoyment because if I'm having a very low, at some point I'll have a high, and that'll be great. You know. Um, that's an interesting idea. Communicate with your guys instead of being a cunt, like DM 101. True. Oh no, I said the word that could demonetize. Oh no, we're not monetized. No, legitimately, um, I, fudging would like ruins the experience for me, and I just don't. I don't personally understand why that's something that people see is useful, I guess. Again, if somebody's having their bad time with a game, I understand that you want to make it a better time because they're supposed to be having fun, so you like fudge the roll to make it so that they don't have as bad of a time, I guess. Um but I don't know. It's probably just because I don't have as much of a um empathetic point of view in that respect because I never have a bad time when I'm playing one of these games because everything that's happening outside of the game is outside of the game and doesn't like affect me inside of the game, you know? The character is not me. I am experiencing something else. So like I don't know. It's just I'm able to put myself in a different position so that when I'm playing the game I'm having fun. And if I'm not feeling like playing the game, I just don't play the game, you know? I don't force myself to go in and play if I just am not feeling it. I think that's the other like good piece of advice to give to people is to just don't play if you don't feel like it's going to like you're having a bad time and you think it's going to affect the game and your ability to enjoy it, right? Um, so like, it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't I don't experience these things the same way that other people do. So it just might be that I don't know.
I mean, yes, to save players' lives, we already talked about that. Controlling the story, this is so silly. This is D&D and games like
Oh yeah, controlling the story, get fucked. You're absolutely don't you railroad me because of that. Stop. Stop. Just let the thing play out. Adapt.
it are
If literally tomorrow, not tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, we're playing Vampire and they somehow find a way to just beat the story, quote unquote, immediately, they can do that. That's fine. You know? We're done at that point, right? Like, I don't mind that. That is totally fine. Um, but I don't wanna prolong something that has been completed one way or another.
what we call collaborative storytelling games. Like a story is being told, the game master plays a role in that story, but the players also play a role in that story.
Yep.
The players' decisions, their actions, what they do. The dice play a role in the story. It's a collaborative. Players, game master, and the dice all work together to tell a story. And when the game master is trying to control the story and force an outcome, I find that to be totally contrary to the game itself and to what you're doing. You're not, if you want to write a book and you want to control the outcome, if you want to control the story, then write a book. Don't play a game under the guise, of don't play a game that you say it's a game and people's actions matter and their choices matter when actually they don't, because you're going to just fudge dice, or you're going to do other things to control the story. You're going to control what NPCs do to push the story in the right way, because there are other ways to control a story, right? Than just fudging dice. And I also think that fudging dice is mostly silly and ridiculous. Like, if you're going to roll dice, then you should abide by what the dice say and what the dice, how the dice contribute to the story. I usually roll behind a game master screen, but I don't try, like, usually there's a player sitting nearby that can see my dice rolls. And so I'm not trying to hide those things. It's just a convenience factor because my screen is there and the dice tray is behind the screen. My personal
I mean, so I understand that people might feel a little more like defensive about it if they roll something and it's not seen by somebody and they go, "Oh no," you know. Did you really roll that? But I don't know, man. Just trust that your DM isn't trying to fuck you over until the fact like they're actually like they've actually fucked you over to a point where it's like, yeah, okay, you're actively doing that, right? Like it's I we can trust each other. It's fine, you know? Like I play with the guys over Discord and none of us can see each other's dice. Usually, I mean we're using the virtual tabletop dice to be fair now, but the when we played Devils and Dice, we rolled on like our separate trays and everything and did like all of that. Whenever I play anything with them and we're using dice in that way, usually that's not like in a VTT of some sort. We just trust, you know? So like I I don't know, you know? Like it's don't be afraid, I guess, to roll your dice secretly, I guess. Just don't have a reputation of fudging things or lying, I guess. You know? Right? Just have some integrity. I don't fucking know. The last time a guillotine was used publicly in France, man, bring it back.
opinion is that if you need a certain thing to happen, don't roll a die to decide what happens. Just decide that the thing is going to happen. And
Less of a trust issue, but I do like seeing the dice. I feel like I'm at the slots. That is fair too. So this is the thing. If it is an important roll and I want people to see it, I'll roll it out on like a table or something, or we can roll it out, on a camera or roll it out like in the VTT. Just so that it's like everybody can see it and then you can get that feel, that high of the slots. You're at casino, you're putting it all on black and you're gonna win, baby. You're gonna win because they just give away money at casino. Everybody knows that. They just give away the money. It's great. I don't know how they stay in business. But yeah, no, that's fine. That's the thing. I understand that. I also still get that thrill though from like knowing that it's rolled and then waiting for the result. You know? So I don't know. I understand the wanting to see it for that though. Absolutely.
it is the
I'm more reacting to the fact that he's like saying, but don't worry, I have a person right next to me who's able to see my dice at all times. And it's like, okay, sure. It's a matter of convenience. Well, you could just put the dice tray and like not use the screen, I guess. I don't know. Okay.
game master's prerogative to curate the game to a certain extent. If the group has been through a whole bunch of really hard fights and they're just beat all up, and then you roll for a random encounter and it says random encounter, and that could just be the thing that kills them all, and how horrible would it be to die to a random encounter? You know what I mean? And so you just ignore it and you don't have a random encounter. But see, I would say in that situation, don't roll the die. Just decide, no, there is no random encounter. They get to take a rest or whatever so they can get some hit points back.
Exactly.
So you have the prerogative to curate the story in a certain way, but there needs to be a balance here, right? To where you're curating to a certain extent, but you're also allowing the players and the dice to help control.
There's a difference as well. Let me just be clear about this. There's a difference as well when you're rolling something to like just determine something arbitrary. That's fine. We can just re-roll until we find something that's interesting. Or if you want to find something that fits more in the narrative, like how for random insanity that you can have happen, like that you can inherit inherit. There we go. In Call of Cthulhu, I think I said it right, but my brain is saying I'm saying things wrong. Anyway, in Call of Cthulhu, when you reach a certain threshold in your sanity, you can get a mania or a phobia, whatever it might be, and if it doesn't fit thematically with what's going on, you can just re-roll that kind of stuff, because I don't see that as a problem. It's more trying to find something that fits instead of it being you're afraid of socks when you're in a burning building. And it's like, oh, okay. Right? If you were to just tell your player that, they would go, okay. Probably. So something like that is fine to quote unquote fudge. It's not really fudging at that point. You're just trying to determine something. And usually at that point you could have the player's involvement at that point too, because you're telling your person, hey, oh, you're doing this, you know, do you think there's a phobia that works fine for this or what, you know? Delta Green manages it oh so much better. Yeah, to a degree, I would say. Yeah. I think the it's not letting you talk about human deletion methods. In Delta Green, you do have a less vast list of things that can happen to you when you reach your breaking points, basically. They're like minor, medium, and major. But you can also add in your own as well. With Call of Cthulhu, it does have the big tables. And for me, I think that I would just look through them and see if there's something that calls out to me in the moment, or let my player roll it out and see if they like the result, right? So I don't know. It's however way you want to do it. If you're doing it by the rule book, well, that's the rule book even says these are just examples. You can do whatever you want, you know.
Control the story and control where things go. Encumbrance, ammo tracking, and rations are just bookkeeping. Ignore them in your games. Look, I have some games where we keep track of these things. I have other games where we don't.
Yep.
And a blanket thing that just says to ignore them because they're stupid and people don't like them and it's just bookkeeping, it denies the fact that different people have different styles of play and different ways that they enjoy playing. It also denies the idea that a game master might be running a certain style of game. If you're running a game set in Eberron where there's a lot of magic and stuff like that, and things are readily available and stuff, maybe you just hand wave that and you don't track it. If you're running a Shadow Dark game, you're probably tracking that thing. If you're running a game in the Dark Sun setting where this sort of thing matters, you're probably going to track this sort of thing. So to just have a blanket thing that says ignore it because people don't like it, it denies several realities of actually playing these games. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like as a game master, what you should be doing instead is you should be thinking about the type of game you want to run and what you're doing, and also get buy-in from your players. Usually there's a game pitch where your players are like, yes, we also want to run that game. We want to play in that game. But you also want to consider, what do your players actually enjoy? Like, what do they like? Do they like the verisimilitude and the reality of tracking their ammo? So they know, hey guys, I only have 2 arrows left. This is going to get really hairy when your archer can no longer shoot arrows. Like, some players...
It doesn't let you put in execute? What if you're talking about a program? But try to put it as like you're trying to run an executable. You're trying to execute a program. See if it'll let you do that. That'd be fucking stupid if it doesn't. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. YouTube's weird. Anyway, for this, by the way, this is all correct. Like, this video has been pretty much solid, which is good to see from Luke, honestly. Try to put, like, execute a program rather than executing a program. That might actually be, that might actually not work if they take away execute the word. Or it's contextual. That would actually be astounding to me if that's contextual. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad that this is a good video. More or less, there are a few things in here where I go, but overall, pretty good. And for this, yeah, what game do you want to run? These will either be part of it or not. Oh, execution was the specific word I was trying to use. Oh. Execution. Is there a way to put execution in a way that isn't... It's contextual. Well, there you go. If you put it in quotation marks, I guess it works.
Like that, and it adds tension and reality to it. Other players are kind of like, this is dumb. I don't really care about this.
Don't talk about
or they'll just have a wagon full of arrows or a cart of arrows they push around with them from dungeon to dungeon, which could actually be kind of funny, just to make sure they don't run out. But know your players, know what they find fun, and also know what you're trying to do with your game and the style of game and the tone of your game. By the way, if you enjoy the content I create, would like to support the channel and get a really cool book, my Feybound Kickstarter is live right now.
This was a couple of... the extreme way. True. That'll get them every time. Let me, when was this video? This video was like, 2 months ago, I want to say. Let's see if this is still up. Go and check his video if you want to get to this link, obviously. Like, go and watch his original video for sure. This is one that I would actually say you should go and watch. What am I trying to do? This. Jeez. No, I don't need to pin sites I visit the most. I have bookmarks for a reason. Why my brain is not working? Hello? Oh, it's not that. No, that's not the right button either. Oh my god. I'm floundering. Okay, here we go. It was 2 weeks ago. Oh, jeez. That's even... So this is definitely still running. So if you want to go support that, that's cool. It's got like a few days left. There you go. Nice.
We are making a D&D 5th edition expansion of Fey. Fey-themed Fey Magic, Mischief, Mayhem, lots of cool things. We have over 1,600 backers as of the filming of this video, and we are giving folks 6 new races, 10 new subclasses, over 100 monsters, Fey mechanics such as Fey curses, Fey boons and banes. We're giving true names, Fey contracts. We have a bunch of Fey magic items. We have a full campaign setting with 4 unique Fey courts, and we have a 12-part adventure arc, 12 full-length adventures that I personally wrote. There's a link down in the description and in the pinned comment where you can learn more. Also, if you scroll down the Kickstarter page and you click this bad boy right here, you can download a free sample of Feybound to get an idea of what we're going to be giving you.
That's cool.
And don't forget to let me know what you think about all of this Game Master advice, and let me know different Game Master advice that is equally as horrible that you've heard over the years. And if you'd like to watch another fine DM Layer video, there's a thing right here you can click. There's something probably to subscribe somewhere. And until next time, happy Game Mastering and have a wonderful day.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what? Yeah, okay, that's good. That's lied too. That's true. It is a lie. What? What? Cities are the worst part of D&D? That's weird. Oh, sorry, but you're wrong. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that was a fine video. It was definitely fine. Only a couple of things that I went, you know? But cool. Good to find one that's actually like not a chore to get through. So I would actually recommend that video to new people, brand new people who haven't ever played D&D at all. Waterdeep's fine. Waterdeep is a place. I don't know if it's fine or not because I have not ever like taken a look at the city itself. The books that I see about Waterdeep make me go, okay, well, sure, whatever. But I'm sure Waterdeep itself is fine to use. That orc didn't look like a racist, but I guess it's hard to tell. That is true. All right. Well, that video took about 2 hours to get through, so I think that's pretty decent for time. Let me think if we can watch this one. Maybe. Well, do I want to watch this one? Yeah, no, we can save this one for another time. It's kind of not on the same topic, so we'll save this one for another time potentially. Okay, cool. Well, this might be the shortest episode that we've had so far. My goodness. But again, video link will be in the description, right? City is city, 'tis but a portal for the real fun in the Undermountain. True. There you go. Let's move to comments real quick. And it won't take us too long, but we'll do it. Okay. So, comments. New York City. True. So, Unit Rico on last week's episode says, there are a few things I hate more than the intra-generation slap fight, and hoo boy, this dude is the entire reason personified. Christ. All bloodlines are presented as a monolith, says the man who treats generations as a set-in-stone horoscope. Get real. True. Yeah, that last video that we went over with the vampire, with the millennials, did millennials ruin vampire and all that? That was really stupid. It was a bad video. It's boring, really, at the end of the day. So I'm glad that it wasn't lost on anyone, really. But yeah, it's great. Anyway, Timothy also on that week's episode says, hello, bros. Still working on lore. This vampire video, though, damn. I don't know why generational gap stuff needs to be brought up. It never really helps any argument. I was a little annoyed in chat during the video. The guy just sounded so cold and robotic. Also, if I remember right, Alejo and Aiden just plainly proved the guy wrong on some stuff just by looking at the book, which is always a great time and made me feel better. Yeah. I don't usually talk too much about the videos ever since I started writing my lore, but the vampire is the mob guy gets special treatment. That's true. And maybe Garibay, if something he says gets my brain working. Thanks for another great stream. Have a nice day. Edit. I was watching it again a bit, and the guy said it has no fangs. Did he mean to do that? Get it because it's about vampires, but crash. Ha. Okay. I shall go now. Yes. Yeah, no, exactly. If it's ruined for a bunch of fucking assholes, yeah, great. I don't give a fuck. That's fine. Right? It is fun. The game is good. Fuck off. Right? But yes, he literally said it has no fangs. He did mean to do that. Absolutely. He was doing the whole cringy fucking that. I think Pizza Funk said it the best, where at the very end of it, he said the video is cringe, which it is. It super is. And he was using a bunch of terminology to show you, hey, I know vampire, let's do it, right? Is what it felt like, at least. So it wasn't great, but yeah. Almost come to ruin, indeed. Okay. But yeah, so the vampire, good. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the comments. I appreciate it, of course, as usual. Please leave more comments. Anyway, that'll do it for video coverage. I'm going to go through the spiel. I'm going to go through the things here and go and say, hey, do you like what we do? Would you like to support us a little bit financially? If you don't, that's fine. Just like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. If you don't want to do that, oh well. Go and see our website if you want more information about everything that we do and everything that we are doing in the future and have done and all of that. Please, it's all here for you, obviously. Joining the Discord and everything that you can do by going down here, and you can go and join the Discord, obviously. But if you go over here to our more and support us further, you can see all the stuff that I'm going to talk about. So, we'll talk about the Patreon and the Ko-fi first, or Ko-fi. We have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. Whoa-wee, wow-woo, wow-wah-wah. The TableTalk crew on both of them. Or TableTalk crew here. I don't have the there, I just realized. Oh, well. It's TableTalk crew here, actually, now that I think about it. Regardless, here is where you can become a table flipper if you wish to for as little as $1 a month, and you get access to things in the future, and or you can be a part of the table flipper part of Discord, and or you can get access to when I run games, potentially, if I do ever get back to doing that. I hope to. I really do. But same kind of stuff for both of these. The other thing that I'm going to do, actually, that I should do, is I'm going to compile, at some point, every Devils and Dice thing into audio-only files, and just put them as a big thing that can be downloaded, as well as I'm going to do that for this, for Vampire as well, so that you can just download every single one in a big old file if you want to. So you absolutely can get that if you subscribe, even for a single $1. That's fine. I'll get to that at some point. I'll announce it when I get it all done. Obviously, I need some time to actually set that up. And I'm hoping to do an editing stream soon, because I do need to edit the next session. We don't have anything in the pipeline right now, so I need to get to it. But yeah, you can have access to those editing streams as well. So, yeah, the vampire shit is good. Thank you. But regardless, thank you goes out to our patrons, those table flippers here, that being Steely, Draco Kraken, and Rick, aka Unit Rico, at tier 4. Big thank you so much. We appreciate you for all that you have donated to us in the years it has been. Thank you very much. A thank you goes out to Crimson Rose, of course, in tier 2. Thank you. And a thank you goes to our tier 1 contributor. Again, little as $1 a month if you wish to do so that way. Up to you. Of course, you can also go onto our fourth wall shop, link in the description. As for the links of everything that I'm going to be talking about, they're in the descriptions, or show notes, if you will. And going down there, going to the shop, you can get, hey, whoa, those little keychains of us that you can get, or the dice that we have, or the coasters that we have, or the mug, or the mouse pad, all this kind of stuff all together. And if you use crew keys in checkout with all 3 keychains in it, you get 20% off. Woo! So, go and get those keychains. I don't actually know if it works with... You might actually be able to get the keychains plus, like, the dice and the other stuff for 20% off if you use crew keys, as long as you have all 3. I actually don't know. So don't quote me on that, but that is a thing. So, but again, that's up to you if you want it. Don't have to get it, of course. It's just there for you. That's right. This is the shill talk, dude. This is the shout out and shill talk, okay? This is how this goes. You can donate to our PayPal if you want to. It is a thing. You can support us by using our affiliate link for Humble Bundle. Going on to Humble Bundle, using the link in the description as well, can do the same thing. We get a little kickback for whatever you buy through using that link. I've figured out how to make actual affiliate links for things. I did one for the World of Darkness Humble Bundle here, which I would highly recommend if you want any vampire stuff. It's also got some hunter stuff. I've not looked into the hunter stuff too much, but it is here. Werewolf stuff as well, though I hear that people don't like it, so I don't know what to tell you, but it looks fine to me. I don't fucking care. Um, there's a lot of vampire stuff, though. A lot of vampire stuff. I don't actually own some of this vampire stuff, so I might actually have to get this. And I do think I have money actually now, which is good. So I'm gonna get some of this myself too. But yeah, go and get that stuff. It's $25 for 57 things, you know? It's crazy. Go get some fucking vampire, all right? It's one of my favorite games. So go for it. Got it for the hunter thing. Haven't actually read it yet. That's fair. I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, other than that, of course, you can support us through drive-through sites, drive-through RPG, fiction, comics, cards. All of these links are on the website. The link in the description goes to drive-through RPG because that's the most relevant to what we usually talk about. Right now, whoa, the month of darkness, 40% off all month long. I didn't even know that. That's very cool. If you buy anything within 15 days of clicking our link, we'll get a little bit of a kickback. That's just how it goes. In fact, look, it's got, there's some Warhammer Soulbound stuff. I don't know if Soulbound's any good, but maybe it is. Phantasy Star, the tabletop role-playing game. That's new. Whoa, cool. Single player mode for Cyberpunk. That's neat. And obviously it's all the community content that's made all the time. So if you want to get anything that's, open gaming license stuff, if you will. It's all there. So go check out drive-through RPG using the link in our description or on the website. Thank you very much if you do. If you don't, hey, I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do, obviously. Phantasy Star, that's my favorite thing. Well, there you go. It's like $30 apparently on there, so go wild, go nuts. Anyway, thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you immensely, of course. Thank you for joining me for the stream. I appreciate you, of course. Next week we'll cover something else. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye so that I can go to bed. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Go on. Get out of here. Thanks. Go. Leave. It's time. Bye-bye.